A Hockey Hall of Fame has begun here in Rhode Island. You need to come.
The Dan York State of Mind program is brought to you in part by Lookout Rhode Island and Taco Comfort Solutions.
You know, it's funny, it was brought to my attention a couple of months ago that a Hockey Hall of Fame was building here in Rhode Island, and my first thought was, we don't have one? Simply because we have such legacy in hockey, and hockey is so much part of the fabric of Rhode Island. So tonight you're going to hear about the beginning of the Rhode Island Hockey Hall of Fame. It's induction ceremony next week, and you've got but a couple of days to secure your tickets for the opening night, which is going to be terrific. And Vince Cimini, who's running that show, will be here in a moment. Great to have you in on this Wednesday evening. Kind of a yucky day. You know, we record this program each day for you in the early afternoon when we're same day. Most days we're same day. And I noticed that the turnout was not very good. In fact, I asked the person in charge of my own local precinct and found out that the precinct has 2,000 registered voters, and a whopping 188 had shown up at 11:30 in the morning, which tells me that it is behind pace. Now, others in my hometown of Cumberland tell me that with a mayoral race there, they'll probably get 6,200 to 6,500 people to turn out. Well, they may be late arrivers because the normal 30 people at the door, I'm told, weren't there. Now, that's one precinct, one blip on the screen. As I came in today on WPRO radio, where you can hear my show weekdays 3 to 6, they were saying that there were some precincts around the state which were performing at a higher than normal primary pace. So we'll see. We'll see. It's 7:30 if you're watching it on MyRI TV. It's midnight, and you know the results if you're watching this on Fox. So we will catch up to all of the results tomorrow with Joe Fleming, pollster, who is always terrific at extrapolating the data and setting the scene for the general election. So, having said that, the other big story that is looming, and who doesn't have a friend or a relative down in the Carolinas, right? This is a mess.
As Hurricane Florence barrels toward the southeastern U.S., officials are not mincing words about the dangers ahead.
This storm is a monster.
In Virginia and the Carolinas, millions of people along the coast are doing everything they can to prepare before the powerful storm makes landfall. 8-year-old Josh Crabtree worked with his family to fill sandbags in Virginia Beach.
Pretty hard, but actually kind of fun.
Zatia Johnson and her family were bussed away from the North Carolina coast. They'll spend the next few days 135 miles away at a high school that's now an evacuation center.
We're surrounded by water, like Wrightsville Beach, Oak Island, all of that. It's just, I couldn't.
Others are going to ride out the storm.
The looters, you know, the people after the storm scare me, not so much the storm.
First responders around the country are making their way to the region.
Hopefully the folks there in the East Coast are going to get out of harm's way.
Many coastal towns have already instituted mandatory evacuation orders.
Man, I got a niece in Charleston and an old high school buddy in Charleston. I got a good friend in Myrtle. I got an email from a buddy today. He says, Dan, really hoping you can join us for a 4-day golf tournament at Myrtle Beach in mid-October. I said, when did you send this? I said, there's not going to be any golf courses in Myrtle Beach in the middle of October, but who knows? Who knows? Say a prayer for everybody. Seems like Washington response is ahead of schedule. The president suggesting that Puerto Rico is a model of performance by the administration should give everybody pause, but we'll kind of leave it there. All right, let's switch gears to the conversation of the evening and the excitement over the new Rhode Island Hockey Hall of Fame. We have a promotional item here. There you go. 2018 Rhode Island Hockey Hall of Fame Enshrinement Celebration. The first. Vince Cimini is the chair of this project and probably exhausted from the labor of love that it has been, correct?
A little bit, getting close there.
Tell everybody what you do and how you got involved in this whole thing. There's so many stories and so many people to talk about, but how did this come together? Professionally, you do.
I am a marketer and advertiser. Run an advertising agency. I have for the last 25 years and was the marketing director of a conglomerate for years before that, and a creative director at an agency in Providence for 9 years out of college. I started at age 18 while I was at PC. I was a student at Providence College and a rink rat. And I spent a lot of time at the auditorium looking for ice time. And one evening, because I had been going to the Rhode Island School of Design from age 10, had a chance to help Norman Rosa, the superintendent of the old Rhode Island Auditorium, with a sign project, painting some signs for ice capades. And I did such a good job, I guess, that the next day he asked me to meet with the general manager of the auditorium, and I was hired. And for 2 weeks, I was a gopher, and by age 18, I became the publicity director for the Providence Reds, writing daily news releases for the next 3.5 years while I was a student at Providence College. And
what a time that must have been.
Yeah, it was. And so
that's old-time hockey, man.
Oh yeah. There were only 6 teams in the American Hockey League. They were the next 6 best teams in the world, because there were only 6 teams in the NHL back then.
Right.
Today there are 31 teams in the NHL and 30 in the American Hockey League. And the Reds were a great team. Their 1955-56 team was voted by the Society of International Hockey Research as the greatest hockey season of all time. We've got 3 representatives of that team, an owner and 2 players, great players, Topazzini and Bennett, who will be inducted on the 20th. Yeah.
So so you came before we listed, and it's a big. You got 16, right?
16. It's a huge. There's a lot.
Start.
But, yeah, there could have been 40, but we're going to be there on Thursday. We want to get everybody out there Thursday night and not on the weekend. So, like I said, we could have installed 40 of them, and no one would have blinked an eye about their worthiness.
So that's good, which tells me that this is going to be an ongoing project. It's not a one-timer. But I'm going to mention this a couple of times. Just can you put up the screen on how do you get tickets to this thing? Because I want right away, before anybody gets distracted by election results or nods off, to make sure that we've got a way to do this. This Eventbrite is a website that you go to.
It's a secure website to buy your tickets.
So it's eventbrite.com?
Yes, or you can go just to the Rhode Island Hockey Hall of Fame, RIHHOF.com, go to the induction event tab, and buy your tickets there. We've only got a few more days to do that. You actually have until Sunday evening to do that. I can tell you that we're already expecting close to 400 people there, way more than we thought this was going to be when we started this venture 2 years ago. And it's been a lot of work during that period of time, but we have virtually all of the youth organizations in the state of Rhode Island will be there. High schools will be represented, the colleges will be represented, and so many fans. This is a hockey state. You mentioned it earlier. We don't produce football players. We have good basketball teams, but the basketball players don't come from here. We do produce some baseball players, but we are a hockey state. We produce hockey players, and we have over 20 hockey players that have played in the Olympics. We have over 30 hockey players that have represented the United States on rosters at World Championship play around the world. We have 11 of the inductees are already in Hockey Halls of Fame above us. The Hockey Hall of Fame in Toronto, the IIHF Hockey Hall of Fame, the American Hockey League Hall of Fame, and so on. So we are a hockey state, and Sports Illustrated calls us rink-starved Rhode Island. But out of those 15 rinks that we have now, and there was only one back in 1926, we have almost 200 young men and women who have gone on to play professional hockey, have been All-Americans, or who have played in world competition. So yeah, we're going to be around for a long time, and this event is going to be spectacular. We have...
We'll talk more about it. When we pause here, we'll come back and set the scene and show you some of the folks who will be inducted. A lot of relationships out there in Rhode Island. Everybody knows somebody. When you find out that somebody might be inducted, you may want to show up next week. Stay with us. So again, the brand new Rhode Island Hockey Hall of Fame kicks off next Thursday at Twin River, and again, we'll continue to remind you that you can go to the website, the Rhode Island Hockey Hall of Fame website. Just Google it, or Eventbrite. Is that what it is? Eventbrite, where you can buy your tickets on a secure site through Sunday. Little background.
For its size, Rhode Island has one of our nation's longest and richest hockey histories. The father of ice hockey in the United States, Malcolm Green Chase, was born and raised here. Brown University defeated Harvard in the first intercollegiate hockey game in 1898. The Rhode Island Reds' 1955-56 season was voted the greatest in minor league history. And in 1964, the Pembroke Pandas established our country's first women's collegiate hockey program. This is Dale Arnold. These are just a few of the many historic milestones that mark an illustrious hockey history that has seen more players, coaches, and executives rise to the highest levels of this great game than to any other major sport. From Hope Street capturing Rhode Island's first schoolboy crown in 1903, to Mount St. Charles winning 26 straight state titles, and Providence College winning the 2015 NCAA championship, Rhode Island's hockey heroes have gone on to claim Olympic glory and World Championships gold, earn All-America honors, have their names engraved on the Stanley Cup, and their portraits enshrined with the game's all-time greats.
It really is. It just that video alone, which just barely touches the surface of the richness of the hockey legacy here. Of course, you know, I'm a Mount dad, you know, so Belial is, you know, at the top of my list. Coach Belial, who we've had here, sit in this chair, and I understand he was quite the disciplinarian and quite the tough guy on the ice. But you meet him now in his twilight years, and of course his two sons are involved in the hockey thing, and of course, you know, Dave has got the whole Little League lore and all that kind of thing. But
great family.
He is just such a modest gentleman, Bill. From the time that I've known him, which is about, I don't know, 15 years. So terrific for him. I'm sure it'll mean a lot to him. He's obviously, you know, internationally known and inducted, but this is big for him, I'm sure.
Yeah, he was inducted into the U.S. Hockey Hall of Fame 3 years ago. As a matter of fact, over the last 4 years, in each of the last 4 years, there has been someone with a Rhode Island connection elected into the U.S. Hockey Hall of Fame. Schneider, then Bill, and then Ron Wilson last year, and this year an old-timer by the name of Hago Harrington, who was on the first Rhode Island Reds team that won a American Hockey League championship back in 1931. He's going to be honored as well. So we're recognized everywhere.
I bumped into Brian Berard today, actually, at the gym. He was going to try to get over here, but he didn't have a chance to do so. But he's some legend, man. And an injury really messed him up. But he fought through it, and he's a source of Rhode Island pride when it comes to hockey. And by the way, he hits the golf ball exactly like it's a hockey puck.
So I hear.
It could go anywhere. It goes far, though, I'll tell you that much. Not a bad player. No. But he's, again, part of the Mount St. Charles legacy that that will at least have a nice flavor in this. Yeah,
there are actually 6 Mount connections here. You got Bill, you got Matt Schneider, who is now the assistant to Donald Fehr with the National Hockey League Players Association. You've got Keith Carney, who will be coming in from Arizona to accept his award. You've got Brian Lawton, who unfortunately will not be with us because he's at the USA development game in Minnesota on September 19th. He's doing color for the NHL network. Actually, there'll be a Rhode Islander, Jaden Struble from Cumberland, your hometown, who will be participating in that game. Mount St. Charles will be well represented in the in attendance at the event as well.
Yeah, but let's not. You know, there's a lot of notoriety to go around. You know, toll gates, right? And the nation's most incredible goalie. I mean, the idea that back in the day, she played on the boys hockey team and won a championship.
The very first girl to play in the top division, and she was an all-stater, and she went on to PC, and 2 times was the National Female Hockey Player of the Year. She was the first woman ever to shut out the Canadians. Of course, she and Cami Granado and PC grads, and altogether 7 girls in the 2020 team came from PC, and 2 came from Brown in that gold medal game, which was phenomenal for women's hockey, and certainly phenomenal for hockey in this region. Later on, Sarah and Vicky Mosession Lamorello, who's married to Lou Lamorello's son Chris, who also works for the Islanders. They started the Rhode Island Sting, an all-girls program, and very close to the hearts of a lot of people in southern New England. You know, just did a fabulous job.
But let's put up the list. By the way, we've got a list. I don't know. You got to have a big screen to see everybody there. But let me run down the list. Sarah DeCosta Hayes, Cami Granado mentioned, Lou Lamorello, who's just. You know, you'll have to tell the story of Lou. He's you know, one of the top executives in hockey right now. Of course, Dick Rondo, Chris Terreri, Zelio Topazzini. Where's Zelio?
Zelio Topazzini played for the Reds for 12 years. He is considered. He was voted the Player of the Century for the Providence Reds.
Player of the Century.
Yes, Player of the Century for the Reds. He played for 12 years. That was the longest tenure of anybody who played for the Providence Reds. Several guys played for 12 years. Beloved, he coached PC after his playing days. He was the most valuable player in the American Hockey League, a leading scorer in the American Hockey League, the captain of that 1955-56 team. As I said, he coached Providence College for 4 years. And maybe one of his greatest contributions has been overlooked. He was a mentor to dozens of individuals who became on-ice hockey officials in the state of Rhode Island. He passed away at age 71 and sadly missed. He has a wonderful family. They'll all be there on the 20th as well.
Nice touch. Ron Wilson, Brian Berard, Matthew Schneider, Lou Pieri, Keith Carney, Joe Kavanaugh. The Bennett family is well represented here. Yeah, Harvey Bennett Sr., Kurt Bennett, Brian Lawton, and Bill Belial. Yeah. The Bennetts are legendary.
Yeah, they are. They're just one of those families, maybe the greatest, most well-known family in Rhode Island, although there are a lot of families when you consider the Armies, the Gaffneys, the Kavanaughs, and so forth. But the Bennetts, Harvey had 5 kids who went on to play in the pros. Kurt being the first Rhode Island developed player, although he was born in Saskatchewan. He was the only boy that was born in Canada. He became the first NHLer. He became the first American-born player or American-bred player to score 30 goals in the National Hockey League, a two-time NHL All-Star, and he played in the original Canada Cup representing the United States. One of many Rhode Islanders who played in those World Championship games. Ron Wilson won the first Canada Cup as a coach in 1996, I believe. Yeah. Yeah.
All right, when we come back, we'll ask the chairman here what he's most looking forward to next week. Again, get your tickets, and we'll remind you how to do that when we come back. So again, the Rhode Island Hockey Hall of Fame, I can't believe it's been this long. God bless you for doing this. How long have you been brainstorming this, by the way?
It's been 2 years. Yeah, 2 years this month, actually. Yeah.
2 years working on the project.
That's right.
But I mean, you must have been all for a long time. I mean, ever since your days, working the rink in school. Are there many states that have Hall of Fames for hockey?
There are some. Minnesota has a great one. Massachusetts has one, but it's not as evolved as what we're doing. They kind of blend it in with their youth program. Certainly, this is going to be special in a lot of ways. And
will there be a place where people can see inductees on a permanent basis, like pictures or hall or something like that?
That's what we're looking for, and that's where we need the support.
Because you're going to raise some dough.
That's exactly right. And
okay.
we've had contributions from the Chase family, for example, from Bank Rhode Island, from Providence College, from the Moran family, and so forth, and a lot of other people who have contributed to this effort. Our first project in addition to the website, the virtual website, is we're going to build a touchscreen interactive kiosk at the Providence Civic Center. We hope to have that installed after the first of the year, perhaps in conjunction with a Hall of Fame game with the P. Bruins. And all of the inductees will be on that interactive, so you can press their picture or their name, and they're full blown. So it's a modern interpretation, and that's probably going to be grouped with the kiosks, the history of the Providence Reds, which was really where the game really exploded. Although we were playing hockey here back in the 1890s, and we played schoolboy hockey until from 1902 to 1925.
I would think the two venues that you'd want a permanent. I mean, the kiosk is going to be cool, but the typical permanent, I wouldn't say, I don't know if you can do busts, but pictures and that kind of thing would either be at the Dunk or at Schneider, right? One of those two places?
Well, actually, we have been offered a place at what we hope will be the new Adelaide Arena complex.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, the Belials asked us to consider it as a site, and obviously it won't be built until and when their new complex. Many people aren't aware that, perhaps unaware that the school is trying to put together all the pieces to do a new complex.
Well, they're revamping the whole hockey program. They're taking that national, international now.
And that's apparently going to be announced on the day of our event, because they've got a number of people in town, including Brian Boucher and others.
Who I'm guessing will be a future inductee.
Yeah, that's a good bet.
I would get that. All right, so 16 hockey legends inducted next Thursday at Twin River. Game time is what?
6 p.m. reception and 7 o'clock induction ceremony.
If you're a hockey bug, and who isn't watching this show, grab some tickets while you can. Obviously, Twin River is an accommodating place. Eventbrite is the website where you can get your tickets, or at the Rhode Island Hockey Hall of Fame. There's a link there. We only have about a half a minute or so. What are you most looking forward to next week?
Ralph Warburton getting the first Chase Award, our first Olympian, 1948. The founder of the Rhode Island Ice Hockey Officials Association and its only ever national president. He's 94 years of age, and he talks to me like he's 30. He's a fantastic guy.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations on this.
Yeah,
this is a labor of love, huh?
Yeah, it has been. Yeah.
So this
for all of us, and our entire board of directors has worked very hard for the last 2 years to make this happen, and our selection committee as well.
All right, so this is the beginning of what ought to be an annual thing, because the depth of hockey legacy goes quite a ways here in the great Ocean State. Thanks, Vin. Good luck next week.
Thank you.
All right, final word when we come back. Stay with us. Honestly, you got to get this if you're a hockey fan, you got to get to the Hockey Hall of Fame induction at Twin River. That's going to be a great project. I mean, and the list is deep. You'd say 16 inductees. Are they just kind of, shooting their whole ammo right away? No, there's plenty. There's plenty. All right, listen, there'll be plenty of information that we'll have to cut through. Will be any surprises? I don't know. If you're watching this on the 7:30 edition, the polls close in a few seconds. If you're watching this at midnight, you already know what the results are, but Ted Nisi and Joe Fleming will be here on the set tomorrow night to work it all out and figure it all out as well. Of course, we'll get your phone calls tomorrow between 3 and 6 on the Dan York Show on WPRO. Get out and vote last minute, but not at midnight. They're closed.